Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. It's always been said, you want to succeed, you got to move forward. You got to hustle. You got to keep it going. Many of us have those dreams, those aspirations, but really not hustling. We think we are, but maybe we really aren't. We're going to look at that today, and maybe one of the reasons that you're really not hustling forward is you don't have a belief in yourself because you don't have a well-defined purpose. Just some of the elements that we're going to dig into today with somebody who helps people move this all the time, move it forward in their lives. He's an amazing leadership coach, does workshops, keynote speaker, and he's just an awesome author, just a great guy. Love getting together with him. Reggie Bullock is back with us. How's everything going today?
Everything is well, Steve. Thank you for having me back.
And for anybody that is listening and not watching, I have to describe where you are because we've talked about your DJ skills. You're in the music laboratory with mixing equipment and albums, actual records in the background. She's fantastic. Like, memories are coming back for me. Even the roadie cases, the reinforced, metal on the edges cases that you lug around. And I'm going to, go into the age thing here. I still remember lugging milk crates of records.
I still have milk crates.
Right?
Yeah. We're not going to talk about where we got them from.
We borrowed them. And, plan on giving them back at some point.
Yeah.
Or maybe trading them for a carton of eggs or whatever. You know what? Did you think for you back in the day that music, DJing, might have been your purpose?
I knew it was my calling.
What's the difference?
So the calling is I'm compelled to be in that spirit of DJing. I love it. You're up at 6 a.m. till midnight, whatever it takes. It feels good and I'm doing it. I don't think I was old enough to even understand what a purpose is. So to that end, I think when you have a purpose, you strategically think about why you're doing something, what you're doing, and it's an alignment with the things that you do, because whatever you're doing helps to enhance, achieve, fulfill your purpose. But as a DJ, I don't think I was that smart. It may have been a purpose, and if I had a good mentor, they probably could have told me, but I didn't know. I just knew I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the lights. I love, you've been in it. You were a DJ, right? So, the roadie cases, all of that stuff helped to define me. And I understood that I was going to make money, get the girls, and get recognition, right? And have fun. And so to that end, if my purpose was making money, getting the girls, and having fun, I was fulfilling my purpose.
It's interesting, the passion that comes out. And just to, illustrate purpose and calling and all of that, I would get up at, 3-something in the morning, work a morning radio show. Then I would throw the crates of records in my car, drive like 45 minutes to the Hamptons, New York. Even during the week in the summertime it was happening, I would DJ, weekday. And, I was looking for the girls, but a lot of construction workers would just show up. And lug the records up to, the DJ booth, which was, pretty high up, then lug them down and rinse and repeat day after day after. They came to a point where these were beach clubs. I was actually looking forward to rain some days just so I would have a break in it. But yes, the money was good, but it was, you were driven to do it. You were driven to do it.
Yeah, it was a passion as opposed to a purpose.
There you go. I think we just defined it. The word passion. It was a passion.
It's a passion.
Not necessarily your life's work purpose.
Right.
I might digress a little bit here, but do you think there's elements of DJing that you applied to what is now and well-defined, there's no mistaking it whatsoever, as a coach, a leadership coach, your purpose? Do you think there's some elements of the DJing part of you that went into that or goes into that?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Because of DJing, it helped me to become who I am. And because of who I am, I get to do a lot of the things that I do. I learned business. I learned electronics. I learned marketing, production.
People skills. You work
Yeah, people
directly in
skills,
front of
right?
people's faces. Yeah.
You know, if the crowd walked off the floor, you knew that was a dud, right? So that's emotional intelligence, being able to read the crowd, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of skill sets that I learned from DJing. It's not just about DJing. And when I teach DJs, you know, I teach them the same thing. How do you own the crowd, right? And so, and then of course, you know, you got to do records, you got to do taxes, and all of that kind of stuff. It's a business,
Sure.
right? So I credit DJing for one, keeping me out of the streets in an environment where it kept me focused, and two, I mean, just it was a passion, so it helped to groom me and shape me to who I am.
Passion or purpose, doesn't matter. You got to hustle. And hustle is the key to success. At least I feel. Would you agree?
I agree. I wrote the book called It's All About the Hustle. Go buy it. Reggie Bullock is all about the hustle. And hustling has transformed over the years, right? Back in the day, matter of fact, remember the song Do the Hustle?
Van McCoy and the Soul City Orchestra, 1975. Hello.
One of the original line dance songs, right? And so hustling is that inner core of who you are. It's that persistence, you know, that develops your character, that turns into an asset. You know, you have to eat. And I tell people, you know, it's like fishing and hunting, right? Hustling is that inner core, that drive, that get up and go, that 24/7. When the sports players are out there hustling, I mean, they don't care if they get hit or knocked down or bleeding or whatever, you know, they keep going. They keep going. And it's one of those things, you know, in my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, we talk about be strong, right? And you just have to be that mindset where you're just going after it no matter what. You have to take care of yourself. You have to feed your family. You have to win. It's a winning mindset being a hustler. But hustler also translates into the benefit of eating. You know, I would say revenue, money, but it's more than that, right? Because you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of your responsibilities, and you have to do it. Hustling mindset is, it's not a might do or a want to do or I'm thinking, no, it's a have to do. I must do this. I must win. And if it means I have to stay up for 24/7, so what? That's the hustle.
Do you feel that many of us don't hustle because it's not our purpose?
I could conflate that and say yes, because it's not their purpose or passion.
Or what's holding them back? What's holding them back? And I've been there. You know, it's like I got to, you know, I know I got to hustle. I got to keep moving this forward. It's not going to happen. My word for the year, and I always adopt a word for every year, is execution. Because
you mentioned that. Yeah,
things are thank you for remembering. There's like things floating out there that got to move forward. How are they going to move forward? They got to hustle. But for those that are just not stepping on the gas, maybe there's some fear, whatever it is it because it really doesn't align fully with their passion and there's something holding them back? Because why wouldn't you know, if it looks like a slam dunk, that's what I should be doing. That's it. Why would you not hustle?
Yeah, so it's a combination of, first of all, the short answer is yes, I agree. They don't have the passion. They don't have the drive. All of that stuff is not there, right? Their purpose is not there. So to that end, right? And purpose deals with, you know, mental health benefits, physical attributes, help. You know, when you have a purpose, there's a lot of other elements that happen, social connection, a meaning in life. What's your meaning? Who you are? Why are you on this planet? Why do you exist? So all of that is about the purpose. But the other piece that I said I could conflate it to say yes, because you mentioned holding them back. The other piece about it is what's propelling them forward, what's compelling them to go forward. So as a coach, I often say therapy is about working in the past. Coaching is about moving in the future. And so to that end, if you're dealing with someone who is not hustling, They may choose not to. They may not want to. They may not have the skill sets. They may have the desire because nothing's compelling them to move forward. And I'll be honest with you, everybody's not a hustler and everybody's not going to be a hustler. And it's not in everybody to hustle. There's some lazy people out there who just don't care and they will never be a hustler, no matter what. It's just the way they're built. You know, there's 16 types of Myers-Briggs people and maybe there's a 17th, and that's just that person that don't feel like doing anything. And culturally, environmentally, they may have been raised where hustling wasn't even, not even a vocabulary, but they weren't exposed to it, so they don't even know it exists. And when they find out that it exists, it's scary because it means they have to actually work for a living. It means they have to do something. They have to get up and go. They have to hunt their own food, fish their own fish, as opposed to sitting there waiting for somebody else to bring it to them. And that concept for them doesn't compute. They're not hustlers.
Isn't it amazing, Reggie, when you take a second and you say the word hustler, people come to mind. People you know who hustle and they're successful and they're and if maybe they're in a lull right now, you know, they'll be crushing it soon again because they're wired. Like they're just like, keep going, keep going. You know, in my mind, there are a good fair amount of them are salespeople. You know, I see them as being, you know, hustlers because they gotta, you know, that's how they make their livelihood.
Business development.
Business, okay. Yeah. But I see them. I got one in particular. I've known him since 2002, and he's always been a mover. He's always, you know, on the go. Now he's in a situation for quite a number of years and doing well, but he's always looking to advance.
He wants to eat. He's hungry.
He's hungry.
He wants to eat. You know, we're going through a lot in the United States, and not to go political, but, you know, with 250,000 people that just got unemployed in the last couple of weeks, and, you know, another million or so slated to be unemployed, we're going to find out who the hustlers are and who aren't, right? Because a lot of people who have not touched their resume for 5, 10, 20 years are now having to polish up their resumes. A lot of people who've not had to reinvent themselves and their skill set, right? You know, maybe this type of fish has dried up and you need to find a different watering hole and bait, and they've never done that before. And so there are going to be a lot of people put to the test in the challenge to figure out how to get their hustle on. That's why my book is all about the hustle, actually picked up in sales, because people realize that in that book are a lot of methodologies, approaches, mindsets that they need in order to figure out how to get the hustle. I relate it to fighting. If you've never been in a fight in your life and all of a sudden somebody punches you in the face, you have no clue what to do. You're just done, right? They beat you with one punch. But if you've been in a fight before, if you grew up fighting like you and I, right, then you just know that was just one. You got to get back up. You got to get back up and fight because the fight's not over. And it's your responsibility to defend yourself. So hustling, a lot of the times, especially back in the 50s and the 60s, hustling had a little bit to do with fighting. I would say that all hustlers back then were fighters because they had to defend what it was that they wanted. They had to defend what they had, and they had to defend what they wanted. And that was part of getting the hustle on. And that's why back in the day, hustling or hustler had a pejorative meaning.
Yes.
But now hustler is not pejorative. Hustler is taking care of your family, and you don't have to do it illegally. You can do it legally, right? You know, I talk about one of my cousins in the book. I talk about he was a drug dealer. He worked for Merck. He worked for Ciba-Geigy. He worked for Novartis. He worked for Notre. He worked for all of these pharmaceutical companies. He was a legal drug dealer, had a master's degree.
A legal drug dealer. That's great.
He went to school for it. I mean, all of the pharmaceutical companies are drug dealers, right? So, but they're legal. So the point is, you can get your hustle on and do it without having to look over your shoulder.
Let's talk about discipline. How do you get to that point where how do you turn into a hustler? I guess that's where I'm going with that.
So discipline is the ability to control your thoughts, your feelings, your actions to achieve your goals. The ability to control your thoughts and your feelings and your actions to achieve your goals. Easier said than done. Of course, I'm a fifth degree martial artist. So for 50 years, I've worked on it and I'm still working on it. All right. Now it's the art of not fighting. And so the self-discipline is if somebody challenges me, I already know what I can do to them. They may not know, but I need to walk away from this thing. And they do too, unscathed. And that's the ability to control your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And also the ability to keep your principles even when you're faced with distractions. And so there are a lot of distractions out there. There's going to be a lot of distractions out there, and there's millions, right? We can get into a whole laundry list, but the point is that self-discipline is you knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and controlling your thoughts, controlling your actions, controlling your feelings, and controlling your choices. When you have the power of choice and you know you have the power of choice, you have the authority over your choice. No one else has the authority over your choices unless you give it to them. And that self-discipline requires practice. It requires work. It requires, meditation sometimes. It requires a lot of energy on your part to get good at it. You're not going to get good at anything unless you do it over and over. Like Allen Iverson said, practice, right? You're not going to get good at anything without practice. And so self-discipline takes practice. But when you have mastered your self-discipline to the point that you can, now you are in control of you. And that's a good thing to be.
I feel a lot of us don't realize that we have the power of choice. Everything we do is a choice. A lot of us drop into the victim mode and mentality. How did this happen? All right. You didn't choose for that to happen. I get it. However, you have a choice of how you're going to react to it. Are you going to marinate in over that for days? Or are you going to move on? Move it to the side and move forward. When it comes to the hustle, because I'm intrigued, and yes, thank you for bringing up that it had a negative connotation back in the day.
Yeah.
Do you feel that fear stands in the way of the hustle?
Certainly. Certainly. Hustling is a contact sport, and it ain't pretty. And there's a lot of people out there competing with you. So that is fearful. When I step into the ring to fight a championship fight, that opponent equally has the same mindset that I do. Only one of us is going to walk out. So I'll have a degree of fear, and then I'll have a certain level of confidence after a while. And so my mama used to say, if you're going to worry, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry. And therefore, like oil and water, fear and faith can't coexist.
All right, we're at the pinnacle moment here. This is like, whoop, what? Give me that again, please.
My mother used to say, if you're going to worry, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry. And like oil and water, fear, which is what you're talking about, and faith can't coexist in the same place. So either you're going to have fear or you're going to have faith. Your faith comes from putting the work in to have the self-discipline, to practice hustling, to understand your purpose, to know who you are, to have that self-awareness. When you practice that side of your sage of the PQ, as opposed to the saboteur, you strengthen your faith in who you are. And it's not just religion, but certainly spiritual, right? Of who you are. And to that end, your fear decreases. And at some point, there will be a lot of instances when you're out there getting the hustle on and you're not afraid of anything. But it takes work to get there. You just don't show up being that ultimate hustler that has no fear. You're going to go through your share of bumps and bruises and punches and cuts and everything else that's associated with the journey of pain. Hey, what makes a diamond? Pressure. Got to go through it.
Have you found in your life, whether it's figuratively or literally, that the pain feels good after a while?
Yeah.
Right?
It's the sweet spot. I get in the ring. Sometimes I need to get hit 4 or 5 times just to remind myself I'm in there. Also, I want to see how hard they hit, right? Because they may be a black belt, but they may not hit that hard. But it also lets me know who I am, and it feels good. I mean, it's not sadistic for me, but to some people watching it may be. But yeah, the fight feels good. The struggle feels good. When you're running, marathon runners, they go through pain and the pain feels good. Bicycles and anybody that's in a sport, that's when you find out what you're made of. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I was born and raised in Philly. We just had the Super Bowl. In the fourth quarter, in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, everybody's giving it their all, even though they're tired, they're exhausted, they're dehydrated, malnourished, all of the above. They are going to give it everything they got because it feels good. It feels good to win.
It's amazing when you reframe it, because this is what I'm getting. If it was a year ago and before, when it came to pain, getting needles, I would run. I would be afraid. In the past 6 months, I've had some, minor surgeries here and there. I had 60 stitches right here. My skin cancer removed it. All good. Fantastic. You won't even see it. And I've had 28 here, 28. All good. But
Survivor. Congratulations.
But thank you very much. But you know what? I look forward to getting those needles and to see how that pain's going to feel and how I can, in an instant, minimize it to the point where I was laughing. They're like, what's wrong with you? This is great.
Power of choice.
Power of
self-discipline.
Yeah.
You can choose not to let that pain overcome you.
No, now it's turned into a pain game. I
right.
guess.
And it only lasts a minute, if that.
Exactly. The anticipation is worse than the actual pain. But it was more of a endurance,
And that's self-discipline.
Working on it and mindset. What's the difference between mindset and self-discipline?
So mindset is the information that you have based on all kinds of external things, right? The world is flat. And everybody believed that. There's ideologies, philosophies, things like that. And you could believe it. Back in the day, we had all kinds of in the 60s and 70s, right? It was a male-dominated type environment where men were it. Once upon a time, women couldn't even vote, right? And so mindset reset is when you realize what you believe was incorrect, or what you believe is holding you back, or it's getting in the way, or it's creating a barrier, and you need to move those things out of the way. And in order to do that, you have to reset your mind, because your belief, your ideologies, your philosophies are actually holding you back. So you need to change them, right? The world is not flat, it's round. And in order for you to sail across the ocean to another world, you're going to have to get rid of that flat mindset, thinking you're going to fall off. You're wrong. So there's a lot of things like that we believe. I grew up in the hood, the ghetto, the streets, the projects, and I had a mindset, right? And I learned that a lot of that mindset was just based on the environment, the culture, and it was wrong. And so I had to change that. And that's the mindset reset. A lot of things that we do now in 2025, we need to do a mindset reset. And the discipline piece behind that is the fortitude, the internal strength that you have to make that change, to wake up early in the morning, to honor your word and do what you say you're going to do. I'm going to reset. I'm going to change. Michael Jackson said, make a change, looking at the man in the mirror.
Sure, right.
So it takes discipline. The song is great, but you're not going to do it just by singing it. You got to execute, to your point, your yearly word.
My friend has a sign in his office, and hustle and humble have the H-U-L-E in both of those words. They start with H-U, they end in L-E. And the sign it says stay and hard. Stay and hard at the top and the bottom. And then humble and hustle is kind of broken up. And what it really comes down to, stay humble, hustle hard.
Hey, Kendrick Lamar had a song, right? Be humble, sit down. So
there you go.
Yeah, I agree. Humility is something that we learn. When you're hustling hard. You're out there driving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're still just a bilateral primate creature on this planet like everybody else.
I think you got to keep it in check because, some hustlers can have these big egos and look at me and you're moving forward and good for them. But you got to keep that humble aspect, but don't be overly humble. It's okay to go like this. Hey, you're actually pretty blanking awesome.
It's a journey. When you first started DJing, you probably thought you were the greatest person in the world. I know I did. When I first saw my name in lights, I thought I was the man, right? And,
I'm gonna disagree on my behalf there. It was the opposite. I didn't have the confidence. It held me back. I should have had a coach. It held me back. And it was over a period of time and realization, and every day is part of a journey. It's not like, hey, I've arrived. No, you haven't. Stop thinking that.
I had to be humble.
All right. Well, I had to hustle. Yeah. And to your point about the fight, you bring back a memory. I was 22 and was involved in a fight. It was just a random thing at a fast food restaurant. Guys ganged up on my friends, and I got clocked. Didn't see it coming.
Right.
And it will never happen again. Will never happen again.
I understand.
It's like now, in situations, radar is up, and gentlemen will walk but never run. Love talking with you. This was so important today. I feel it needed to be said for a lot of us, in terms of the hustle. And that word can, for many, depending on your age, can sound dirty. Like, I'm not a hustler. No, you need to hustle.
Behind me is a story of a lot of hustling.
I got you on that. And behind me is a story of a lot of hustling.
There you go.
How do we find you, Reggie? If we want to engage you to move life forward, some coaching, even starting the conversation, and find out about the books? How do we do that?
Certainly. Everything is on my website, www.reggiebullock.com. You can contact me through there. You can click on my books through there. You can learn all about coaching. You can learn about the different packages and things that I do for coaching. So everything is at my website. Just Google me, Reggie Bullock, or go to www.reggiebullock and get the book. It's all about the hustle.
Awesome. Thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. See you next week.
You got it. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is busy, I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.